All right, so we are going to be working on the photo restore. So to do this, I'm gonna open a picture I want to restore, which I'm gonna go with this one. This is a little easier than a lot of the ones I want us to restore, and it could use some sharpening, which we're not gonna get into. We're gonna go over the basic things. So we're gonna go over the spot healing brush, which is right here, which is good for little things like these flakes in the picture. You can grab, and even there it was too big right here. So we got the spot healing brush that you can use, and even in areas where it's pretty simple. And then more importantly, we have the rubber stamp tool, or the clone stamp tool. And the way the clone stamp tool works is you would press Alt and you go to an area close to the damaged part of the picture, and you can borrow from that area. Now you got to be careful. You can do a lot of things with the brush. You can reduce the flow or the opacity or the hardness. Like my brush is pretty hard right now. I'm going to drop that down, and I'm going to just kind of soften my way in here to kind of heal it. Like here's going to be tough up here. And this isn't something you do particularly quickly. It's something you got to work toward, trying to get it, just right. So like there, it's a little blotchy. So maybe we're going to add a little bit of the hair, try to smooth this out. It's all about trying to create that natural look and getting back to what the picture looked like before it got bent or wrinkled or damaged. And you can take a long time on this. Up here, probably using the spot healing brush is good because it's a very similar background, and it uses the AI to kind of figure out what's supposed to be going on. If you left click and drag, you can go along and hope for good results, but you can't always depend on it. You notice it's not totally natural here. You cannot do something like go through here and just expect it to be perfect every time. That actually wasn't too bad. So sometimes you get lucky. But you see, the further I come up in, the more it removes. It starts to look bad. So we can maybe do a quick click and try to work it out, but it's not necessarily going to give you the look you might desire. And that's where you really have to use the clone stamp. It's just borrowing from the area around it. Sometimes this requires you zooming in. You're just trying to get things to look a little more natural, a little more like the surrounding area. Get the colors a little more correct. And the tones a little more right. Like here, I really think the hair here should probably be dropping down a little further. So zooming out, compared to the original file I brought in, which I will pull back up, when we're flipping between them, you can tell the ear right here still has some work to do. Doesn't look quite natural. It's a very sharp division between here and here. So that's where you'd probably have to spend a lot of your time doing work, trying to recover the ear a little bit. There are other things you can do to try to help. You can take a brush and reduce the and take the opacity down and take the flow down and make it very soft. And you can do things like take the color tool here, and you can kind of grab in here and you can use that brush to kind of soften an area. Try to get your tones the way you want them. You can also come in here, like I said, and you can take the brush and you can kind of slowly paint in like a blush and clean up the area. You want to add shadows back in and do things like that. So you can do that and kind of use the brush to kind of do a little color blending. So these are the basics of photo restore. It's basically the big tools, a spot healing brush, and the clone stamp. After this you can do some other things, like you can come in and do some auto tone or auto color, try to get that looking a little bit better. You can do auto contrast and see what comes up here. I'm afraid there's not much I can do about the graininess, but just, you know, between the two, so it's starting to look a little sharper. We have some issues up on the ear. This looks like it's smoothing out, but we're heading in the right direction. I can see there's a little bit of a fold here. I might work on that, and some ghosting over here. But all in all, I think we've taken a step toward finishing the entire process. When you're done, you would save it, and then the next thing we'd go on to is the color for the restoration. You can also come in and try sharpening, which would, I'd try maybe the Smart Sharpen, and you can go in here and you can, you know, try to reduce the noise. And it's going to give you a preview. Let's see if I can zoom out. So like, here's how it is. Make it like a pretty good size radius, so we'll see. And it didn't really look to take much effect. If anything, I think it looks worse. It's very hard to sharpen an image like this in the restore process, so I would say you could leave it. Once again, you can go back into filters and you can experiment for yourself with sharpening. But for the most part, I think we're good to go. I'd just go in and fix this here and then move on. I hope this was helpful. Remember, big tools, spot healing, and the rubber stamp. Clone stamp, I should say. So good luck.